made our way a little bit further from the absolutely just mind-blowing Mount McDonald Cemetery. That was just next level. We'd never seen anything like that in the way
just in the middle of nowhere, and I was saying, I wonder why they put a cemetery here, because there's nothing around.
No. There wasn't even, it was literally a track that we walked in to get there, and there was no sign.
Yeah, but I didn't see anything over 1893. That was sort of like the last sort of one, but they're sort of scattered. Sorry, they're sort of scattered throughout the bush a bit.
Yep, and they're named as well. So the most response we got from Ghost Tube was in the Chinese area. We had
Peter.
Yeah, Peter, Paul and Terry come through. We also had the number 4, so we were waiting to see if we got a 4th name. It was then when we moved down further to the other area and we got the name Kathleen. Yeah, we just spent a little bit of time there, but yeah, it was pretty amazing. And then poured down, and then we've made our way to the lookout here, and it's just cracker. The sun even just came out for about a whole or 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think the weather knows what it wants to do today.
But it's absolutely beautiful. So we're just going to chill out here for a bit, enjoy, and keep making our way heading towards Cowra. What an afternoon we've had.
Yep. It's been good.
Has been good.
Went to the Japanese War Memorial Cemetery. I've seen the Australian memorial as well. We come back here just before dark. Had a quick look around just to see what we're going to set up and what we're going to do tonight. So we're actually at the Cowra POW prisoner of war camp, or that's what POW is, prisoner of war camp for World War II. So they had a breakout on the 5th of August 1944. I believe it was 385 Japanese detainees. Not all of them were soldiers. Were killed. 108 were wounded, and 4 Australian soldiers were killed as well. The person who organised the breakout, he was actually a pilot. He was in the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the bombing of Darwin. His plane got shot down. The local Indigenous caught him and handed him over to the military. He was the ringleader of the breakout. Yeah, but they did say to the Japanese that were escaping, do not hurt the locals. And it was more about they wanted to die with honour, because being captured was unhonourable. A lot of them did provide fake names because they knew that the names would be sent back to Japan, and that would be disrespect and unhonourable for the family. But the names were originally, all the names were verified for the graves. And that, so yeah, so most of them that weren't killed by the Australian soldiers, because they basically overran 2 gun pits, killed the soldiers there, they committed harikari or suicide. So
It's been really interesting. It's been a very, I don't even know what the word is this afternoon, just I guess looking at it all and
yeah, so there were
the sites. And
so it wasn't just Japanese. There were Italians, so there was some Koreans, some Chinese, some Dutch, some Germans, and that as well here. The Italians were actually given day release and used to go and work on the farms and then come back at night. The camp commandant at that time and the other soldiers deemed that the Japanese weren't trustworthy or reliable enough to be released on day release. So they actually just stayed in the prisoner of war camp the entire time.
So we are going to make our way down, as we just said earlier. When we came here earlier, and we got that beautiful scenery of the area, which was absolutely amazing. So yeah, we're going to walk down. I'm not quite sure exactly whereabouts we're going to go, but yeah, we're just loading up now. Nick and Craig are getting their gear together, and yeah, we're just gonna have a little bit of a hike down. And
the day started off cold, wet, rainy.
We've had 4 seasons.
Yeah, and at the moment it's saying in the car that it's 29 degrees.
It's not. It's actually getting really cool quick.
Yeah, and I'm just putting a jumper on because there are some mozzies out and about at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So the plan is we're going to hang around here for a while, see if we can pick anything up. We've got a couple of devices. Craig has been to this area previously. Yeah, so he might be able to share a little bit about that later on. Yeah. But if not, we'll see what we can cover after we've finished.
But we may pop around to the war cemeteries again.
Yes.
And just see what's happening over there. When we were over there earlier, Craig was playing the Japanese national anthem near the graves, and my EMF reader was going off the scale.
Yeah. So, alrighties. Well, on that note, the light is fading fast because I believe that you probably can't even see us now.
Yep.
Do you like me?
Tell me about Bushido. Left before dishonor. Tell me about it. How does it work?
Why is he here?
Who are you talking about? You're talking about the army soldier? Did you hear that?
What was that?
I don't know, Dave, if you heard that, but it sounded like someone
Banging.
shaking a door.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
But I definitely heard that noise.
Okay. Yeah. 'Cause there's no,
Just
like I saw a
marked
bat
out
before.
20 seconds ago, see if you can pick up the banging noise.
That was cool. Over there.
They're coming closer.
There's, yeah, they are coming closer. There's movement, there's sound coming from there. Not the car.
You notice the REM pod stopped,
Yeah, the
and the noise came from over here.
100%. Make yourselves known. My name is Nikki. It's Craig, my husband over there. It's my friend Amanda and her husband Dave. We come with total respect and love. Would you like to tell us your name?
Hope you don't mind. I'm just going to place this device on top of your
Ethel.
headstone.
Ethel. It's Ethelane. We have plenty of little devices in our hands that won't hurt you, but they're just to give us, be able to tell us if you're close by. So come close. Oh, the cold draft just on my legs then. You just
Lower.
Lower.
Attic.
if you can make a noise or tap on.
Afterlife.
Yes, afterlife. Yeah. Yes. I know that there's an afterlife. And that's basically why we're here.
Murdered.
Murdered.
None. Are you frightened?
There's growling that's going on over here.
Him.
Here.
Yep. It's like a growling sound.
Suffering.
Yep. It's like a thud.
Yeah. But when it growled over here, she came back straight away and said sorry. And then went from there to there in like a split second. Who's over there, Dorothy? Who keeps making that growling sound?
Manifest.
Manifest, yes please.
Yes, please.
Heaven.
Heaven, yes.
Please manifest for us.
The first cemetery was amazing.
Yeah,
I'm going
it
to say
was.
that was my favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely beautiful.
So good. The lookout was amazing.
Yeah.
I think then we sort of got a little bit of sun,
Yeah.
and then we made our way. Where did we go after that? We went into Cowra.
No.
Woodstock Cemetery.
Woodstock Cemetery.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell you what, don't follow my mapping. I tell you, Woodstock. Yes.
Which was much larger than I thought it was going to be
It's beautiful.
for a little
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a 16 hour day yesterday, so, you know.
I mean, there was a lot that we try to capture to put into like a little episode, and yeah, like Nick said, we literally got back to camp last night. I'm going to say between 1 and 1:30. Then by the time you got to wind down from, I guess, all the energy and everything that we had experienced through the day and into the night. Take it away, you guys. The POW and
Well, we went to the
cemetery.
war
Cemetery.
We went to the war cemetery, which was the Japanese and the Australian.
Yeah.
I did find out that a lot of the prisoners there, some of them weren't actually soldiers, they were just locals that were in Australia and they got put into the internment camp. There was some that were in their 60s and 70s that died there. All the Japanese prisoners of war that died in Australia all have been moved to the Cowra Japanese cemetery. There is some Australians there, but they were all ones that either died during training or for illness at Cowra. There was an Air Force guy, but he actually died due to a motorcycle accident just after the war.
Yeah, so much information to take in and try and pass on to you guys. And then you guys, if you wanted to share a little bit, probably Craig, about the POW and going there before, and the reason why you actually wanted to show us on this adventure. You had an experience there before.
Yeah, well, I mean, the POW camp, as it is now, is known as one of the most haunted sites in the country. And I was there maybe 10, 11 years ago, and I've got to say, I didn't really have the experiences that we had last night at the time, because I was there even though we were there for the paranormal stuff, it was more a filming type experience. So there was a lot of filming and stuff going on, which kind of divert your attention a bit. But one thing we did capture there, looking back on footage, was a Japanese flute that you could hear quite distinctly off in the background, which, it sent chills up your spine when you heard it. It was quite amazing. So I've always wanted to go back to see if we could hear it again or capture it again. Replicate it. I don't know if we have, because I haven't listened through the audio as yet, but I'll let you know what we get. But yeah, it was an interesting night at the POW camp. We were chatting before about, it's not always, places that are haunted aren't always haunted by ghosts. And when you say ghosts, a lot of people think of Spirit of the Dead, Hollywood. That's what it is. It's a dead person come back in spirit form. Ghosts can be residual energy as well, that leftover energy that's been stained or smeared on the atmosphere, scarred on the atmosphere, if you like. And I think the POW camp in Cowra would be a perfect place to have scarring on the environment because of what happened there. Just over 1,000 Japanese POWs decided, they voted. There was a ballot system that they were going to have this mass riot and escape. And they did that at 2 a.m. in the morning, and just over 200 were killed, 231 lost their lives. 4 Australian soldiers were killed during that as well. But if you can imagine the mass trauma energetically that would have been left on that land due to that, of course there's going to be times where that replays. And people hear things. They might hear, yelling or screaming, or gunfire or flutes or whatever used to happen there. And I think maybe you guys had some of those experiences.
I think definitely a few.
Last night I heard gunfire after I played the audio, and then I waited for it to stop. Right down in the very back corner, I could hear it was like a 308 single shot, and it was about 4 times, and then there was the echo.
And that was interesting because 20 minutes before that, I was kind of standing away from you guys, and I got this big wafting of At first I thought it was fireworks, but then I thought, no, that's
Yeah.
gunpowder that I'm smelling. So it's interesting that you kind of heard that as well. And we did have some interaction with some of our electrical devices
we did,
too.
yeah.
It's really cool.
And another interesting thing is, remember when we're in the Pilliga and we say it comes in the wind?
Yes. Yes,
So
definitely.
we're all sitting and standing around, and the wind picked up, but it was icy, like it was an icy wind. And I had my thermometer out, it was 22 degrees when we were there.
Yeah.
The icy wind came through, and as it came through, all the electrics started to go, you know.
And we felt it just like
One
like
side of
ice.
your face.
It just felt like you're in a
mortuary.
And Nick and I also heard banging, like as if
Yeah.
someone was banging on a wooden door or shaking a wooden
something.
door.
Yeah.
Um,
There was a lot of movement too,
Yeah,
right?
there
We've
was,
seen
yeah.
movement, hearing movement. You just couldn't quite. You felt like you were being watched,
Yeah.
and things were building, you know, through the course of the
Especially that tree right near the end of that building.
the foundations.
Yeah, that one tree there was just something lurking in the shadows.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting night. And again, your viewers can say, "Oh, yeah, it was dark. It's a spooky place. Your mind's going to play tricks on you." And yes,
Absolutely.
it does. It definitely does. But the experiences you have are yours and yours alone. It can't be denied. And it's not for anyone else to say whether
That's
Yeah.
right.
what
That's
you
right.
experienced
That's
was real or not.
It was also, can I just say, it was the dark of the moon, so
And thunderstorms.
and thunderstorms,
Yeah.
which again just helps energetically,
Yeah.
and you could feel that. You could feel that.
That
sort of-
lightning coming from
Yeah,
down
and then
Outback
and
Earth way.
then things would change.
Yeah.
You could feel that, right? So that was pretty cool. That was
Definitely.
pretty cool.
The next thing we wanted to touch base on was the cemetery. So
Yeah.
we went back to the cemetery. We decided, I don't know, there was a map that we saw early on in the afternoon, and we were on the radio, and I said to Nick, you know, is there a particular place you wanted to go? And she's like, no, wherever. So I just felt drawn to go to this spot in the cemetery, and had no idea. And then we were sort of like wandering through with our torches, and we realized we were in the Catholic section.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that was only after.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, after we again had some really cool electrical interferences. Some of the ghost box stuff that came out,
Yep.
and that was after I did the Lord's Prayer, and we got, you know, rosary
Yep.
Rosary beads.
prayer
Prayer.
and rosary beads, and that's when we went out and found we're in the Catholic section.
That's
So
it.
those kind of things, it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? I saw an amazing green ball of light. It was really low on the ground, and not long before we were talking about the children, where the children were.
yeah.
And so when I saw that, I thought, oh, is that just like a reflection, whatever? But then when it moved and started to move through the headstones,
Did you see that as well, Craig? Because you
No, I
were
was looking in a different direction.
direction, right?
I
yeah.
made my way up there, and where it was the children's section.
Yeah.
Right, so that was again coincidence, but it was pretty cool, right?
it was.
We were drawn to that space, especially you and I being mums. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
were taken up there. So
Definitely.
yeah,
And then we had the name Dorothy.
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 yeah.
I think Dorothy was trying to lead us somewhere.
We could not. We looked for her.
Yeah.
We looked. There was
But she did say she was visiting, so we weren't quite sure.
correct. Yeah.
Again, we were just running Ghost Tube and a few
Yeah.
devices.
She could have come from the other side of the cemetery as well.
It's
She may have
actually
seen us over
massive,
there
yeah.
and then went,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go over and
And again, like we were mentioning last night, cemeteries, especially general cemeteries like that,
Yeah.
they do have guardians, spirit guardians
Elementals.
that look after
Yeah.
such places too. So
Yeah.
whether it had something to do with that or not, but you know, I've got to be honest with you, I'm not a massive fan of going to cemeteries and looking for that type of thing, because for me it's like, why are you still here? Like,
Why are
don't you
yeah.
just go to wherever it is you go?
Yeah.
Your energy goes back to where it came from, or
Yeah.
you know. So I don't quite understand all of that. But when you think about the amount of people, living people, that visit a place,
Yeah.
and again deposit and leave their residual energy behind,
Yeah.
of course there's going to be there's different types of energy there, you know. So
Yes.
No, it was interesting. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was. If only we had more hours in the day and
Oh,
the night.
in the night, right? In the
More
night,
hours,
yeah.
more hours in the night.
Yeah,
so-
again, because you're only there for a really
That's
limited
it.
amount
Yeah.
of time, you
And
know
we're
what I
trying
mean?
to
And
jam
to
it
do
all
this
in.
stuff properly, like we've mentioned before, you've got to put days or weeks into it. So you can imagine just with that little bit you got, especially at the POW camp,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you could extend that to be there for nights,
Well, like we said about setting up swag there.
yeah,
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you know,
100%.
and
Yeah,
could,
100%.
you know, could you imagine the stuff you might interact with then?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
But
Thanks,
it was
guys.
cool. No,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yes,
it
thank
was
you.
really good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got something out of it. If
Yeah.
you want to leave a comment or ask a question, feel free. I'll also pop down Dead End Touring's Instagram so you can check out their photography. Bloody amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I tell ya.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Can't get over it. Just the detail, just the emotion captured in the photography is amazing. So yeah, check these guys out. And until next adventure, whew,
Yep.
Mr. B,
Go on adventures. Be safe. Always, please remember. Oh,
are you
go on
gonna-
adventures. Have fun. Always, please remember when you're out there. Be safe.
Yeah, and it's again, I don't know if we said it last time. It's not the dead people you got to watch out for. It's the living.